So this is the first of many videos of me documenting the journey and the more so in the details building of myself, currently COO of the A Players Club with James Galligan. Just as like an operator, a builder, and a leader inside the business, as well as really documenting like the day to day of a business that myself and James are building for decades, where we're in a game of everything being such short term. I felt that it was very important for us to be documenting um, the day to day as a comparison for like the rest of the industry in terms of how we differ, how we move with 10x the speed of our competitors, but with a zoomed out 10x lens. Exactly the reason for why I'm going to be making these kind of videos once every 3 or 4 days or so for the foreseeable. Just so that when we look back in 10 years, we have it documented. This is all the trials and tribulations that we went through. The aim of doing this, I kind of have it down here, is I want to just like take a bit of time every couple of days to zoom out through the lens of building for decades, where repetition is persuasive. I trust that documenting the inputs, outputs, and calls being made will attract the right talent, opportunities, and network. Obviously, taking big inspiration from Ryan Clogg here, but I feel like it's very valuable to do, especially for myself. I do just want to document like how we're actually building the company. Um, there's so many things that go on in a day to day where like my kind of role, I'll get into it here in a little bit, is pretty much building systems with James, building strategy with James on like the lengthened time horizon. Then it's my role and responsibility to lead execution of that strategy that we build together across team systems, operations, communication, while protecting time and buying leverage for the rest of the team, including James. So I'm kind of seeing like the most of the action within the business and what's changing, and making a lot of the biggest calls, and actually putting them into fruition. So just kind of walk through this first video, and these first 4 or 5 or so are really just going to be like setting the frame. Then from there on, it's going to be more like every 3 or 4 days. I'll kind of show like this is specifically what happened over the past 3 or 4 days. These are the calls that we're making, the direction we're taking things, and why we're doing it. Again, to attract talent, opportunities, network. We're going to document the inputs, outputs, and calls made. Again, myself, Colin Pettit, James Galligan. Our record month is going to be this month right after, but this isn't very accurate. I think it was pretty much $200K that we did in our record month. Obviously, going to push way past that this month. So to kind of kick things off, where I came from, this is going to be more so like the intro and frame setting video, like I mentioned. For a bit of context, I'm Irish from the very, very south of Ireland, a place called Cork. I've tried every side hustle in the book, all from YouTube videos from when I was like 10 years old, coming from that kind of realm. Always had like little hobbies, never treated it too seriously. I even went into music production, which actually still hold really dear to my heart, to be honest. Like, I'm a very much like, uh, I love like the hip hop culture and all that kind of shit. So that's like very part of like who I am. I had a content agency for a while, which is kind of like my first footing into the online game. Only after that shut down, and I kind of went into like probably like one of the roughest like personal periods of my life, because I poured everything into that business and it led to nothing for an entire year. I kind of just like I really like turned professional with it. It's a quote that I heard in a podcast with Chris Williamson, I'm pretty sure, when I was kind of in this like more so like monk mode, habit building, mentor gathering stage, where I really just like I literally did like the whole lock in thing. I locked myself in a room for 12 months to build myself up, to form the habits that I needed to become professional. Where I started really taking business online seriously and got into setting as a result. Then elevated after a year of mastering my craft, becoming obsessed with it, even though I knew that it was like uh, a really like um, low tier and stepping stone role that you can have inside a company. I made the most of it. I came into a company that I'm super grateful for being part of. I'm thinking of one in particular. I was part of a couple, but in every company, I was very close, and it was a very small company. I was very close to leadership, just because of the fact that repetition is persuasive, like I said in the beginning. I showed up every single day, gave it my all, and had interest in every part of the business. James Galligan, the co-founder, was on a podcast a couple of days ago with Darren Lee, where we just recorded it in the villa that we hosted our last mastermind in Marbella just this past weekend, where we had 160 European entrepreneurs, even some coming from California to fly in and meet with other entrepreneurs. He mentioned that no matter what role, what job you are in, you need to develop obsession. Obsession is the mother of all invention. Just as what's the quote? Uh, Restriction is the mother of all invention. He said something like that. Like obsession is where success is bred. So I became obsessed with setting. I learned everything about it, elevated to closing. Then I ended up starting a real estate company due to a mentor that I met, Nelson, who actually helped me start my real estate company. That flopped also, but it was a learning lesson, but also helped me develop the habits that ultimately led to me becoming COO of A Players Club, which is what I currently do right now. So yeah, this kind of like monk mode phase led to gym, relentless study of the people that I idolized: George Heaton, Alex Hormozy, Nelson, Founders Podcast, which is huge. This is one of my biggest flexes. You can't see it right here. With 7,000 minutes last year, it's going to be like double that this month. Eat, sleep, breathe my profession. That's how I got to where I'm at. I wanted to dive into like the principles that I hold dear again, given that this is like more so like a frame setting call or a frame setting video. Given that these are so true in the way that I operate daily on a business. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And I believe that a leader's job is to set the standard and hold it for the rest of your team. So when I say that these principles are dear to me and that I live by them, that also as a byproduct means that the entire team lives by them. And this is the way that the team eats, breathes, sleeps, and thinks. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. When times are easy, you lean in. When you have momentum, that is not when you stop. When things are going great, that is not when you stop. That's when you double down. Imitating majority follows the innovating minority. You have to be exceptional to get exceptional results. Don't deceive yourself of what the game requires. This is directly from Michael Jordan. The work doesn't care. The work needs doing. That's Alex Hormozy. Set the example and lead by it, like I had already mentioned. Big one. This is what hard feels like. Pause. No time is wasted. I believe that any time spent working on your craft, whether immediately productive, so you get an actual output from it, whether you look back on it at the end of the day and be like, that was just a day wasted, it wasn't, because you're working on your craft and you're building up the discipline. Worst case scenario, you know what not to work on in the future. And if you're obsessed with what you're building, which you need to be great, no time is wasted on what you're building. The origin story. In tough periods, look back, take a step back, zoom out. This is part of the origin story. This is part of the story on Monday Tell. This is part of my podcast story. Playing for the decade game. This is one of the phrases me and James love saying. On a mission, shout out to George Heaton, and it's me versus me. My role, this is kind of getting into more of the tangible. So I build strategy with James while leading execution across teams, systems, operations, and communication. The team side of things, I build systems, leverage, driving daily motivation, and I create leaders. Creating leaders is our aim with the team. We delegate to a point of knowing that we have A players in place. We delegate to a point where they figure their way out to achieving success, where we outline success for them, give them minimal tools, and build support around how they work. I'll get into this much more in regards to our leadership strategies and psychology in later videos, but this is kind of like the fundamentals of like how we operate. Strategy, I build the systems. James makes it A players. Like there's been countless times where my kind of style is I build 80% of the new thing we're pushing out, whether it's new funnel strategy we're doing, new sales strategy, new content system. I build 80% of it without James's expertise being thrown on it, which is branding. It doesn't mean shit. Like what I built, I would put my life on it that a lot of the stuff that I built that we've thrown out would have worked, but it's not aligned with the vision. Brand is everything in a game where you're playing for decades, not days. So without James putting his touch on what I build, it doesn't mean shit because it would only result in like short term. And that's obviously something that I'm learning myself. Systems, operations, and automation. My role is essentially leverage to the team and cutting blow. I'm a real COO, not an info COO. What we're building in the shortest way possible is the exclusive members club for online entrepreneurs. The most important word in this entire sentence is the. the only one. We're leading with experience, with the highest level of access, providing world renowned expertise, unlocking business at the highest level. We play a different game, and therefore we follow different rules. We are the home of the entrepreneur. Event hosting, incubator, real estate, you name it, give us time and it's ours. We've already built a moat. We're already building the home of the entrepreneur. We're taking over everything that is involved with entrepreneurship. Just give us a decade, give us 2 decades, give us 3 decades, and good luck to the rest of the competition.